Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the DGS Presents YouTube channel. And I'm back here with Michael. And it's been a while. Welcome back, Michael. It's been a few months. We haven't really talked. We haven't really done a whole lot. I've been really busy with some classes I'm taking. I've done some traveling. I've done some conventions. I just have not had time to do any videos, but I am back, and so are you. And how are you doing, buddy?
Pretty good. Jail wasn't too bad. It was fun. Met a lot of new people. So I recommend going to jail at least once in your life. They're very nice there.
Looks like you have a new outlook on things, and
I
that
do. I do.
brings us to today's topic, actually, which is a little bit different than what we're going to do. So I think what I want to cover tonight is the RPG hobby in general and what's going on with it. So maybe some conventions and stuff that we've done, so maybe some catch up or whatever. But I think that, so much has happened in the last 3 or 4 months with
Months, like years. I mean, just crazy, crazy stuff. But yeah, recently, just absolutely
oh
nonsense.
yeah. Yeah, so I mean, like for instance, if you look here, back, a year and a half ago or something, WOTC, right, Hasbro, they started laying people off, thousands of people, and in this case, 1,100 layoffs in 2023, and there were more in 2024. WOTC also got rid of some key staff or key staff left, such as Jeremy Crawford and Chris Perkins, and they left to join with the Daggerheart RPG, which is
Sure.
the was it the Roll for Initiative guys? Is that what that was? Or is that yeah?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
is that yeah?
That's what's going on there. Well, I mean, here's the whole thing. You have to really look at the big picture. I mean, was this because of DEI hiring? So they hired all these people and realized that they're you know they're not pulling their weight or whatever, or people just jump ship, like the big guys, because they're like, oh, we can't handle this kind of odd direction that D&D is going, which they've been sailing that ship for years. As soon as they jumped on the that bandwagon where all major companies do. Now, to tell you the truth, this behind me is like Teflon. I am well protected. I can say whatever I want as long as I goose step in line with what they say. I don't have to believe it. I just have to say I do. And that's how you get ahead in life. See?
Yeah, so I'll have to be careful then, Michael, in what I say to you. And
Yeah.
the,
Well,
the other interesting thing
hold on.
too
It
is
is missing a stripe for the maps, which I think is a glitter turquoise one or something like that. So they really need to get on board with that, and because everyone needs to be included.
no,
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 they
no, no.
do. Though, to tell you the truth, they wouldn't even let me join. That probably says a lot more about me than them. But anyway,
So, some other things that happen is that WotC is no longer supporting the Adventurers League. I just found this out like 2 days ago. Like, what happened to Adventurers League? It's like they're no longer doing it.
well, there weren't enough diverse people running it. I think that was the problem, and because I didn't support it either, because there weren't enough of this in the group. I mean, we needed more of that. We needed more just diversity and all that. I mean,
Yeah.
when you're
Well,
working for delusions and degenerates, you need as many people behind you as you can.
and then they also
D&D.
they kind of discontinued the VTT, right? The virtual tabletop, or I guess it was with Sigil. Is
That
that
I was looking forward to that, because I mean, it looked cool. I'm like, well, maybe if some way I could kind of design our games to kind of fit in that. I was really looking forward to it. I just cannot understand how you can spend millions of dollars on this project and shit can it, what, 2 weeks, a week after its release? I mean,
crazy?
who who does that? And
I
if
know.
they're venting money, well, look, it all goes down to when you pander to like 5 or 10% of people that enjoy, say, D&D or RPGs, you get 10% of the money. it's like these people have been in business for years and they don't understand that you want to hit the market share and not a niche group, which has grown within the last 4 or 5 years because of TikTok and all this other bullshit where they're like, it's like this big delusion that like back in the day, there were everyone was a little different and all that other stuff. People are gaming. We had all we had gays and trans people and people with autism. We had all of that before. We all
Reptilians.
worked, well, yeah, that too. But we all worked together because, and there was no problems until it became a problem, and they pushed
Right.
us out.
Well, we'll get to that. I think
Okay,
that
okay.
yeah, that's coming. But interesting thing, just rewinding
So
for
the
just a
coffee
sec
just
with,
hit.
I know the VTT. One of the spokesmen from WOTC released a statement. I think it was like last year or maybe earlier this year, and he said, "I want to share an important update regarding Sigil. After several months of alpha testing, we've concluded that our aspirations for Sigil as a large standalone game with a distinct monetization path will not be realized. As such, we cannot maintain a large development effort, and most of the Sigil team will be separated from the company this week." So
And shot.
I mean, that's just amazing. Like, what in the world? I mean, either the thing was just a total piece of shit and bug ridden, and it just was not even getting out of alpha testing, or some decision came from the higher ups. They looked at it. They said we can't compete against existing products. There's too much competition on Steam, whatever. But this whole thing was basically shelved,
Well,
and
here's the
all
thing,
these
though.
developers were fired.
Yeah, but they should have let it cook a little bit. What just shows you they didn't have the money to let it cook. Because, I mean, as far as like game releases go, I mean, a lot of games are released underdeveloped, but they let it cook. They add patches to it as it goes along because they're trying to get it out the door to make money. And here's the thing with Sigil. That STD, I mean, no, LLC, what are they called? I don't know. Um, it need it. I think it would have worked if they would have, like if you what they fired or let go of like 1,100 people. It's like, dude, then they had the money. I was looking forward to it. I really was, because that was promised to me back in what 3.0.
I know, I
Remember
remember
that?
that.
Remember? And I was psyched for it. And they did the same thing. They pulled the plug on it.
I have a conspiracy
Crazy.
theory. You want to hear my conspiracy theory, Michael? The reason why I
Oswald,
think this thing
Oswald
was shelved?
was set up,
No,
or a
not
different one.
that. No, nothing to do with Epstein or anything like that. No, no, my actual conspiracy theory with it is that you're creating this online gaming space where people are interacting. There's all sorts of collaboration and everything, and companies like WOTC are just not comfortable with that because you know what? Somebody may say the wrong thing. Somebody might put up the wrong image. Somebody may go in a direction with the adventure that other people don't want, and there's a lack of supervision, or there's a lack of oversight, and then suddenly we have a problem. Like it. Here's the thing: Hasbro plays it safe. This game has always been, and this is my principal complaint, way beyond all the woke nonsense and everything else. My principal complaint with the game is that it plays it safe, not to offend anyone. There's no real world references to anything. It's not referential to the real world. It's just this weird, self-referential thing. It's corporate and it's sanitized. And I
Sure.
really think that they were worried about this VTT. They're worried about somebody saying the wrong thing, and then they have to jump in and ban people, and suddenly we have a problem. You get trolls, right? Some people might come in there, some shitlords, people trying to create trouble, right? And
Hey,
I think they were too
I wasn't
freaking
going to
scared to
cause
release
that
this
much
game.
trouble.
No, I mean you're notorious. You've been thrown off of 15 gaming platforms,
Yeah, well, they don't like full frontal nudity. I've come to find out.
Yeah, but but here's the thing, it's not just WotC. It's other gaming companies are having a problem too, like this whole thing with the Diamond Comics distribution and everything. with Pathfinder. Paizo, I guess they have this issue with Diamond Comics, that the distribution company where their stuff is being held. But I mean, honestly, God, when I saw that, sorry guys, I didn't even know anybody even played Pathfinder anymore. I mean, Michael, does anybody play Pathfinder anymore? Do you go to conventions? Do you actually see people playing this game
I'm
anymore?
sure they do, but they got caught up in this whole thing as well and started pandering to the 5 to 10% or less.
Well, they started doing this first.
Right.
They did it before WOTC did it.
Like I said, they got 5 to 10% of the money, not the big pie. And trust me, what these companies should have done like 4 years ago, 4 to 5 years ago, when this thing started happening, was just say, hey, we already include everyone already. We don't need to do this. Everyone was still playing it. It was just, the world lost its mind.
It was just bizarre,
Well, it's the fear of being called out, being called a bigot or a racist or a homophobe and stuff like that. All things I am. However, no one wants to be called that. But now I've been called it so much that it's like, it doesn't mean anything at all. Right, Pepper? Pepper even agrees.
Yeah, I mean, it's trouble at WOTC, and I think you and I were talking earlier today. I think I put together a little list. This is nothing fancy here, but I thought about the things that are going wrong with the RPG hobby, and obviously we're talking about number one right now, and the rampant identity politics in the hobby. Okay,
sure.
Guys, I don't care who cancels me or gets mad. Like, identity politics is bullshit.
Well, here's the thing.
It's never good. It's like whether or not I accept you as an individual, and consider you a friend or an associate or whatever, is not based on some like physical characteristic or nationality, man. It's based on, like Dr. King said, the content of your character. It's based on, like, are you a cool person? Whatever. Like, I don't give a shit about your group membership. Like, your group membership doesn't mean anything. And I don't have to be your ally because of your group membership.
Dude, you need to get one of these behind you, because you can say whatever you want and you're untouchable.
Yeah, but
this flag will be complete when they add the maps to it. Okay, I'm just saying.
God,
see,
no,
they have to stop being bigots.
So, I mean, or
pedophobes. Oh, hey, is that a new word? I think I just invented something.
Oh my God, pedophobe. So, and so as far as number one, right? I mean, like it spread to all corners of the gaming hobby. And I know other YouTubers and, people on X and everything have talked about this in the past, but, it just got so pervasive. Like, if you go on to the Gen Con, info page, it says this, right? And it says, inclusive, community building. And it says, we consciously build welcoming, safer spaces to gather, forge friendships, explore shared passions, and discover new ones. Awesome. That sounds great. Then comes this. We value active listening and working with our community to shape the Gen Con that's anti-discrimination, anti-racist, and free of sexism, harassment, and hate. Now, some of that's okay, but like the anti-racist
that's my bread and butter, man.
Yeah, well, yeah, the anti-racist thing is a dog whistle.
Well, here's the thing.
That's a dog whistle to Antifa and
I learned
Ibram
this
X.
shit
Kendi
when I was
and these people.
Well, I learned this shit when I was a kid, how not to be an asshole. I was taught that. We grew up in the 70s where, being called a bigot back then actually meant something.
Yeah.
But we all got along.
Like that kid from Bad News Bears. Remember him? He was a bigot.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, that's a great film. But anyway, but here's the thing, and that's the whole thing. It's just like they're calling this shit out on things that really weren't there, because I could have I'll make a joke about something, and then all of a sudden, oh, I'm a racist or a sexist or a homophobe or whatever. It's like, dude, it's a joke. It's like, I remember when we used to actually be funny. I mean, how many times do you call me a homo a day?
Not really looking to get us canceled.
I have a list,
but
I wrote them down. It's a
Oh
lot.
my God. Okay, yeah. So,
It's a
but
lot.
again, the identity
However,
politics stuff, it's just it's a recent, relatively recent thing. I mean, it's like I go to conventions during the year. I go a whole bunch. We see stuff like this, for instance, right? This is from Gamehole, and I'm not blaming Gamehole for this. Monty
but what?
Cook Games, right? Monty Cook Games comes out with a people of color industry dinner at Gamehole. And again, it's totally the right to do this. I'm not saying they can't do this. They can have whatever they want, but it's just
Right.
like, oh, we're going to set aside our event and it's going to be, it's just, guys, I hate to use the term, it's total virtue signaling.
Oh yeah,
That's
absolutely,
exactly what this is. It's
absolutely.
obnoxious. And people were like, what the fuck when they saw this on
It just
Facebook,
makes
and rightfully
no
so. I didn't
sense.
say a word, but I just saw this. I'm like, come on, guys.
Well, you
Like,
can't. I mean, here's the thing: you can't criticize this because, well, you get canceled and dogpiled and all this other bullshit. It's like fine if you want to do it, but you're absolutely right. This is just, and you have to figure how the people attending this dinner feel about it. Do they really want this? This?
yeah. So,
I mean,
and I'll tell you what actually is wrong with this in a pragmatic sense. For instance, like let's say I'm a black guy or an Asian guy or whatever. Why am I going to go to a dinner where the audience is going to be very, very limited? Let's say I'm a game designer, I'm an author, or whatever. I'm looking for work. I'm a freelancer. I'm an artist. Like, why am I going to go to some dinner where there's like 6 people there who look like me? Like,
so the whiteys
no,
can
I'm going to
blow
go to the
smoke up
other
your ass.
dinner where the other
Yeah.
people are so I can intermingle with people from all nationalities and all around the country and all around the world so I can find work. It's stupid.
Dude,
This
they
this
better
whole
not
thing is
have.
stupid.
I was just thinking they better not have on the menu like fried chicken and ribs because that would be
Yeah,
awful.
there we go.
Because
Yeah.
whiteys don't get it. Okay, no, but seriously, it's like there's going to be a couple of white guys there, and with these other guests, and so that whitey can blow smoke up their ass, and they don't need that. They're just like if you're talented enough and all that stuff, that's all that should matter. It's like how many shitty uh, game designers are out there, and they could be white, they can be black, they can be Asian, they Hispanic, maps. It doesn't matter, And but and that whole thing, it's just like I want to be known as a good writer. It doesn't matter that I'm white and handsome and in shape and easy on the eyes and well, all that stuff.
Maybe a
Uh,
bit mentally challenged, maybe just a little bit.
You went full retard, man. Never go full retard.
Listen, that's part of my personality going full retard. I wear it as there should be a stripe for that too. Oh, I think there already is. I'm not going to say which one.
I've gladly embraced my autism. I'm proud of my autism at this point, but I do not use it as some attempt to virtue signal. I don't try to stick my
Yeah, it's like
colors in the map so everybody
let's pander to the and the thing is, if you don't goose step in line with that, well, what do they say? It's like, well, if you don't agree with this, don't show up. Well, guess what? I didn't. It's not that I don't agree with it because
Yeah.
I support all people. However, being told, well, if you don't believe in every single thing that these people want you to believe in, oh, then you're out.
Yeah,
Except if you have this behind you, then you're safe.
and
You can,
here's the thing, like before everybody gets mad and starts throwing a tantrum. I mean,
I'm already mad now. I'm throwing a tantrum.
This is business, right? Successful businesses do not engage in ideological and political grandstanding. They just don't, right? I mean, we saw that. So Target Corporation, their stock is down 80% from a few years ago. Like I could go on and on and on and on. It's just
Target.
like Jaguar. I mean,
Oh
remember I
God,
talked
yeah.
about. I mean, it's just.
Jaguar.
I mean, and again, in this, and I'm not talking about just left wing politics. I'm talking about any politics, right? Like the pillow guy or whatever.
Yeah, that guy.
You don't want to be like my product is for this small portion of the popular.
Sure.
That's crazy. That's stupid. It's bad business. and it was bad for WOTC. It was bad for some of these other companies. It was bad
it
for
was bad for
Paizo.
the, yeah, it was bad for the RPG industry. It was bad for motion
Yeah,
pictures. It was bad for Budweiser, and all
yeah.
this other stuff. It's like,
I mean,
they don't get it.
inclusive doesn't mean pandering to 10% or 1% of the population. That is not inclusive. That's not what inclusive means.
Yeah.
Right.
And telling
Like,
the other 90% to go screw themselves,
yeah.
or you have to agree with this.
Yeah.
And that's
So, I
okay.
mean,
Well, now that the tower of cards is collapsing because people are the normies are tired of it. We don't care if we get canceled because it has no weight behind it anymore. I don't give a shit. I didn't give a shit back then, but I stopped going. Well, I had that car accident, which kind of kept me out of conventions. I just don't have the passion to go to these conventions anymore and worry about the games I'm running, if I'm going to offend some snowflake at the table because of something part of the game or whatever. It's just ridiculous. And it's like, no, I'm not doing it anymore.
Now, I will say, I mean, as a qualification that I've run games and some of them are a little edgy or whatever. I fortunately never had a problem where somebody like freaked out, right? But and I mean, I run some pretty Call of Cthulhu edgy content in my games, but
sure.
I've been very lucky at all. I've not run into like crazy people that go nuts, like thankfully, right?
Well, of course, I did run a game with full
but you
immunity, bondage, whipping.
No, I mean, you run into some weird stuff, people making comments. I mean, nothing major, but you know, yeah, you got to worry, right? I have a few games that I won't run anymore because it's just at conventions because I'm just like, I can't run this shit. Like the people will go nuts, right?
Well, it shouldn't be that way. It really shouldn't. If people are, well, here's the thing. People are offended because they want to be offended because then it makes them special to say, oh, that offends me. And then all of a sudden they get a pat on the head because it's like, oh, yeah, we're allies. You know, and the thing is, the best thing about this whole bullshit is that they eat their own. So, you know, you could be goosed up right in line with all the bullshit and you say one little thing out of thing and you're kicked off of like Blue Sky or whatever the hell that's called, where all the liberal people go now. And they, you know, they just eat their own.
Yeah, like anybody's even on Blue Sky. I mean, really, like nobody's on Blue Sky. I mean, that's just. But I mean, it's kind of like these companies like Monty Cook Games and some of these other, which we're going to get to in a minute. But some of these smaller companies like Monty Cook, Virtue Signaling, with all this stuff, like Monty Cook, like, sorry guys, nobody plays his shitty RPG game. What is it, Numenera, or what the hell that thing is called? Like. Nobody plays that thing. Like and again, like, people can get mad at me. They can have a fit. Like if you go to any convention, you might be lucky nationwide to get one game of Numenera, of his crappy ass game that Monty Cook produced. And if I can rant a little further, the stuff that Monty Cook did, I think a lot of the shit, some of it was good for TSR and WOTC and stuff back in the day, was shit.
Well, dude, you're off his Christmas card list now.
Sorry, I am. I mean, this is the guy that like what he wrote the Book of Vile Darkness with the raping fucking demons and shit in it. Like oh, okay, so now the guy is going to be all like virtue signaling and stuff when he was like writing about, you know, raping demons back in the mid 2000s. And he's again, I think he's a hack. I think he sucks. Sorry, I just
no,
do.
That's fine. I mean, like I said, that's
opinion.
your opinion, and you're entitled to your opinion. You shouldn't get canceled over it or whatnot, or dogpiled or anything like that.
No, there's a lot of great game designers out there. There's a lot of great writers. He just isn't one of them. And that brings us to our second point here. One of the problems with the hobby is we have a fractured hobby with too many players. And what I mean by that is too many companies, right? There's poor quality games that like nobody plays. Nobody freaking cares about. Like, I mean, like nobody plays Thirsty Sword Lesbians. Like nobody plays Blue Rose from Green Ronin. Like nobody plays Green Ronin games at all. Like, I mean, Green Ronin. Like, come on. Like they're trying to get what, $9,000 for an attorney so they can go after Diamond Publishing. Like what attorney is going to work for $9,000?
Yeah, well, and good luck with the whole, you know, the whole Diamond fiasco is, you know, that's been in the work for years. just bad business modeling and stuff like that. That's a
Oh, yeah.
whole other episode.
That's we'll
Because
do
those
a
guys
comic
are
episode
just,
one of
like,
these days,
crazy.
just so we can vent further. And I don't want to sound like I'm just totally bashing people. Again, there's lots of great companies out there, but
Well, I think what it
there's
is,
a lot of shit too. There's a lot of
right. Well,
crappy
Tom, I don't
games.
think it's. I think it's. You're not really bashing. It's more of frustration where
Right.
there's so many of these like gaming companies and stuff like that that it's just like the good ones do float to the top, but there's so many of them all vying for this very small market, and especially if they're pandering to the 5 to 10%, then yeah, they're going to get 5 or 10% of the thing. Just come up with a good system or good setting, and you're all good to go. I mean, like I said, me personally, I mostly, I only stick to out of print games. That's what I love. There's no woke bullshit in that. It's clunky systems and weird, and it's wonderful, like me. And so that's why I don't really look at. Though I did like the new Alien.
Yes.
That was a good system.
Yes, I don't want to be entirely negative tonight. I think the Free League stuff is great.
Oh,
I think that it's not like dripping with politics and bullshit at all. It's cool. Like I had the Blade Runner. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love the Alien game. I really love all their shit. Quite frankly, I think it's like really good, and I that's a bright spot in the hobby.
But it's also a larger company that, as far as I know, they didn't go too woke. Wait, are they? Is that the same company that did the Star Trek?
No, I don't think. No, that's Morpheus.
Yeah. Now I have the Achtung Cthulhu.
Cthulhu.
Yeah, which I haven't played yet,
Mm-hmm.
but now I can because they just released the second edition, so I can play the first edition since it's technically out of print. But then they were doing the Star Trek one, so I look at the cover of the Star Trek book. I'm like, oh, it's Star Trek. It's great. So they had, I think, 7 characters on the cover. There was one alien, one white guy, and all the rest were like women. And I'm like, it seemed, that mixing weird to me. I'm like,
right.
What are they doing? It's just like, I don't know. It's just like, is this another single, kind of, look, we're
I think you and I may have played it once. I did play.
That wasn't that one. That was what's his face? I have it on the shelf.
Oh, that's right. That was an earlier game. But
yeah, it's like because there's like at least 4 earlier editions. Not by then, but it's a new one. But then I looked at it, I'm like, okay, well, is this going to be woke bullshit? Because of I'm just looking at the cover. It's like, that's not diverse. It's
like, yeah, it's kind of like the new Star Trek show. I think I just started watching. Was it like what is that new one that's on like?
Oh, ABC? The one about the with Commander Pike. I watched a couple episodes of season 1, and I was looking forward to that because it looked good. And then unlikable characters. I do like the captain.
I like Pike. I'm not sure I like anybody else.
He's a great actor. But like the storylines, and it's just like, it's another woke episode. They had a musical episode. It's like, what the heck are we doing here? And people seem to. What? Yeah, exactly. It's like,
yeah, I mean,
this is not Star Trek or like Discovery. Yeah, they discovered how to alienate 90% of their fan base. Congratulations.
Yeah, I know. It's again, that's a whole nother episode that we can get into.
It just drives me nuts.
But yeah, I mean, it as far as this goes, there's just too many games. They're not a very good like Achtung Cthulhu looks great. I love the art. The system is rubbish.
Right, but you can work around that system kind of put your own in there, or like I do with a lot of the other out of print games. I streamline it for conventions to make it easier to run and whatnot. And I would do the same for that, where it's just like, yes, it can be clunky, but remember, I used to only run convention games.
Right.
And so I would always streamline it because we got 3.5 hours to 4 hours to get through it. So we just streamline it. And I would do that the same for even the Aliens game and anything like that. And these like Free League, it's a much larger company and stuff like that. And now I think as far as like we're talking about these poor quality games released by
Major publishers or well,
shade
minor
tree,
publishers. Yeah.
well, the shade tree designers. I support. I think they should do it. I mean, if you have a passion for it, shouldn't
Sure.
matter if it's good or bad. You should do it. Because it's the stuff I do. It's just like, yeah, I might not be, say the best writer or the best this or anything, but I enjoy doing it, and I think they should. But don't be surprised if people aren't buying your stuff, and don't call someone who doesn't buy it a bigot or homophobe or
Right.
whatever.
And here's the thing, like I think that I didn't add it to the list, but I'll just touch on it briefly. There are a lot of games out there that have great presentation. They look great, but they don't play well. Right. 5e is a good example of that. I mean, obviously we can, and again, people complain about like there are very specific reasons why I think 5e just doesn't work well. It's not
Right.
terrible. It just there's mechanical problems with the game, and
Sure.
this gets to number 3 on our list here, is that 5e represents, along with some other games, a return to miniatures wargaming mechanics in a closed, rigid system where you can't do anything unless you roll for it. And then we can, do the formula and blah 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 blah. It's like, I don't know, just let's speed up the game.
Right.
It again, and here's the thing. I love miniatures wargaming. Like DM Greg, who's on this show all the time, like, dude, we do like hardcore. Like, we went to Origins this year. We played all kinds of miniatures. Like, I love that. But it's, if I want to do an RPG game, I don't want to I don't want to mix these two. I don't want to
Right.
have some weird hybrid between these two. They're distinct. I either want to do full on free flow, loosey goosey AD&D, or I want to do like hardcore Napoleonic miniatures. I don't want these
Right.
two things to mix. This is just me. It's just a preference. I get
Well,
it.
here's the thing. If you're playing at home, that's fine. If you want to get
Right.
into, the whole, because I know it's just like, but at conventions, you get the sweaties there where they, the min-maxing everything. It's just like,
Yeah.
relax, man. We got 4 hours to get through this. Let's have some fun. So you do a lot of theater of the mind. You kind of streamline the rules a little bit to move it, because you got 4 hours to play a game. I don't want to sit there for an hour while some person is like just min-maxing everything. You're just like, come on, we need to go. And
I know it's been a
complaint
complaint forever. And
I don't allow that. Well, when I used to run conventions before I've been blackballed from all of them, I wouldn't stand for that bullshit. I was just like, let's, we got to go. And,
well, I'll tell you what, that's what's great with like some of these other companies, like Free League. There really isn't any min-maxing like an Alien, but not that I can see, in Blade Runner or whatever.
Right.
Like bam, bam, bam. It's pretty
Yeah.
simple. You got a character, he can do X, Y, and Z, or she can do that. Yeah, and you put them in like there's no like, oh, I have page 4 of my skill list, and I have like 29 skills, and I can do like 7 or 8 or 10 or actions per round, and I get a bonus action and a tertiary action. Like this bullshit, like all that.
You
crap.
get
I mean,
nothing.
yeah, like there's nothing like that, and I get it. If people want to play that way, totally cool. Go ahead, play that way.
Do it at home, man.
I'm not against crunch. But I'm against systems that bog down and take too long to adjudicate anything. Where like walking down the street with your party takes like 2.5 hours. Like that. That's
well, here's the thing.
Forget it.
I think because we primarily, I only run out of print games. Not a lot of people are familiar with the rules for those, so you can be pretty lax.
Right.
I'm pulling, so we can get through the game and tell the story and get to the end.
Right.
And where everyone's having fun and all that. I mean, it's just like, my games are pretty easy to run. I write them myself, so I'm able to, come up with things on the fly, because I'm not.
Well, your games are very like cinematic. Like, you know what I mean? They're fun. They have all kinds of wild props and all. They're very cinematic games.
Yeah.
And with a lot of like, player and audience participation.
Sure.
Very, which again, this is DGS thing. This is what we do. They're not mini war games. Like we don't do that. But also, so moving on here. So number 4, and this is just This is something you brought up today.
Right.
Too much bad art, and artists who are afraid of AI and all this other stuff because you know what, their own art is just not really good. There's
Right.
so
And
much
that,
crappy art flowing up,
the
just
good artists
floating around out
don't
there.
worry about this shit because
Right.
they're good enough or better that they just rise to the top. I think it's mediocre artists that are having a problem with it. Like I said, I can sketch and do all that stuff. I'm not really good at it. I'm good enough to get my point across when I'm designing or sculpting or whatever. That's all I need. Um, you know, like back in the day, the charm of that kind of that artwork from the original books and stuff, it was charming because it wasn't an industry yet. So it was fine. I love that stuff because it's great. However, nowadays, like I perused the 5.5 D&D book, and the art looks like a lot of it just looks like shit. And you're like,
like the
it's like this,
Mexican orcs.
yeah. One,
Yeah, I mean
it's this
that's what we're
dramatized kind
talking
of.
about. Yeah, we're
Well,
talking about like
here,
really shitty art,
well, here's the
that
art.
appeared in these books.
Right. For me, this is what the art looks like in those books. For the most part, it's bland, it's washed out. There's nothing popping about it. There's nothing interesting to see. It's just there. But like back in like 3.5 or even with the aliens, well, some new publishers and stuff like that, they got some really good art pieces in there because they hire really good artists for it. But like this other stuff is so bland. It's like cookie cutter bullshit art, and everyone's doing it because they're afraid not to do it.
Great example. I mean, there's so many examples that we could point
Crazy.
to, and I don't have the picture to put up, but like, for instance, was it Curse of Strahd or whatever with
Oh yeah,
WOTC? Okay, it doesn't show like Strahd with his claws and fangs out, like hovering over some woman. No, it shows some like metrosexual guy who looks like Peter Murphy, like lounging back in his chair with a wine glass. And it's like,
sure.
okay, I get it, but that's not menacing. That's not. I mean, it's just like you said, it's bland.
Right.
It's just like they're so nervous about having any violence or any like controversy in their stuff. It's crappy art, and it's not evocative.
Like I said, it's just,
Unlike
well,
Free
yeah, that's the whole
League,
thing.
who
Yeah.
Free League's got great art, right? Like
Yeah.
amazing. Like it looks totally cool. The alien art, the RP, the Blade Runner art looks really cool. It's very evocative. It's very edgy and cool and dangerous, and like
Well, and
D&D
here's the
has
problem.
lost its edge. It just
Right. And
has.
the reason it's like this is because people accept it. Like the 10% that are buying that book, they accept it because it's sanitized and it's clean and they can't get offended by it. And that's the reason why this art
Right.
sucks. They're making art so people don't get offended by whatever. Too many muscles. The chicks' boobs are too big. Gotta cover up the women because that's
Yeah,
the male gaze. It's like, are
oh
you
God, I
kidding me?
know.
It's just like, it's like, what's wrong with having a big strap? Well, here's the thing. It's a one-way street though. You'll have the big, muscly, strapping young lads in there with bulging muscles and all that other stuff. And the women are wearing like the equivalent of like GD burqas. Everything's all covered up. You're like,
I know. It's like anti-Frazetta.
yeah,
Or
that's
Boris
yes,
Vallejo,
yeah,
right? It's like
anti.
the
It's
exact
just like,
opposite.
oh
Like women are
no,
like
no,
covered
because
up and
some
stuff.
ugly chick with purple hair might get offended because a woman is attractive. It's like, dude, it's like when I look at like big muscly guys, I'm like, oh man, I could maybe if I worked out, I could achieve that. It's like it's like, oh, let me start working out. It's you look at it as something. Maybe it's a male thing. But it's just like, yeah, it's like I'd like to have all those muscles. That'd be great. Uh, and and then men like beautiful things, and women would, it's like
It's
I'm not like a big.
fantasy. It's exaggerated.
It's like
it's a
it's not
Conan.
offensive. It's
It's
like,
like,
how do you
yeah,
think we all got here? Someone was attracted by someone else, and then they
yeah.
did things that I'm not too sure what they did, and then the stork came or whatever. It's just like, why? It's like the male gaze. Are you kidding me? it's because ugly chicks, they can't live up to that. Well,
Right,
maybe
well,
they took out the nose rings and all this other bullshit and took a
do you remember
shower.
like back in like I think it was like 2016 or 2017 or whatever,
Yeah.
and I didn't even have this in the show notes, but where that thing was floating around, where some girl had written a blog post that says T TT like a tabletop RPG gaming has a white male terrorist problem. Do you remember this?
Oh yeah, yeah.
It started floating around about how she had been like, the male gaze had been used against her and microaggressions and like she found everybody rapey and all this other stuff. And then it turned out to be basically a hoax.
Oh yeah.
Like months later, but like every guy white knighted on that thing
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
and like went crazy. And I'm like, this is just bullshit. Like what is this? Like it was such a bunch of nonsense, but like that just kicked off where we are now.
Here's the thing.
Right.
Here's the thing about white knighting, and here's my point on white knighting. I don't white knight. You know why?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not like 400 pounds. I don't live in my parents' basement. I shower fairly regularly. I'm not a bad looking person. I have an excellent personality. Well, more or less. I have a sense of humor. So I don't need to white knight this bullshit. It's like, well, okay. All right, you caught me. Anyway, so I guess this wasn't helping me on that. But anyway, I'm being honest there. I'm not, I don't need a white knight because I actually have something going for me. But all these other guys, they white knight because they think, oh, this chick might like me because I'm supporting her cause. It's like they don't give a shit about you. They're going after, Brad or Tyrone or even the Silver Fox. Sometimes I'm just
Kinky.
Anyway, but in that whole thing, it's just like they're virtue signaling to the wind. It's like, are you kidding me? It's just like, and this is how it got out of control because it's like if people didn't just ignored it because it was nonsense to begin with, they didn't do their due diligence to find out if it's actually true.
No, I know they didn't. Yeah, yeah. It was total nonsense.
Well, here's the thing though, and when they find out it's not true, crickets.
They don't exactly. It's like nobody apologizes for anything.
Then they just go on to the next nonsense that they can. God, I'm getting riled up.
I know. Well, and that brings us to number 5 here. This is just like a kind of a weird. I brought this up today when you and I were talking about. I'm like, every time I go to conventions, like a big convention, like Gen Con or like Origins or whatever, there's always these like self-proclaimed authors with their self-published books. I'm not saying that they're bad, but dude, you self-publish this book because nobody else would publish it. Like it's just probably 90% of it's bullshit, and it's terrible. And you and I, we both knew a guy back in the day who like pushed his book on us, like Gary Con or whatever. And I took this thing home and I read 10 pages. I mean, like I actually have published in the academic realm. And I know how hard it is. I read this thing. I'm like, oh my God, this is just terrible. Right. And it's just these people, just like there's too many RPG games out there, there's too much of this crap.
Right.
It's just bad books, cheesy tie-in material that's just really just not good. Like there's no editor, there's no proofreader, there's no nothing. It's just people producing this crap, and they show up at these conventions and they push this stuff off on people, and it's just like, it's just like
it's publishing masturbation is
what I hate to burst your bubble, but like writing is really hard. I mean, if I could be a great fantasy writer, I would be. Right. It's not really in my wheelhouse to do that. Right.
Yeah, and you're not going to punish us with your shitty writing. You're actually a very good writer, but I wouldn't punish anyone with my fan fiction bullshit, novelization and expect people to buy it because of my name's on it. It's like I'd be embarrassed. Well, that's why I write stupid little silly modules and stuff like that and run them.
Well, I've seen some of your Three's Company fan fiction.
Kinky.
I mean,
dude, it's great stuff, man.
I'm just saying.
However, I wouldn't punish. I respect the human race too much to punish someone with that.
To
With these
inflict it on
delusions of
the
grandeur.
RPG hobby.
It's like it's a big pile of shit, and then every once in a while, maybe one pops to the top or whatever, but they're not being picked. What we have to find out, and we have to do some research because we'll do a whole episode on this, is we can do research for someone who was self-published in the fantasy realm and got picked up by a major. Let's see what the
I'm not aware of anybody. I mean, really,
there has to be at least one.
There have been cases in history where people have like self-published and became like I think, don't quote me on this, Beatrix Potter, Peter Rabbit.
Yeah, but that was like,
I think she tried to sell her book to everybody, and everybody turned her down. And obviously, it's a classic.
Right, right. Well, that was like
she's and it became huge, right? Like
yeah.
I think, I'm not sure, but that's like the only case that I can really think of. Like,
you know,
well, like
even we go back to like say Stephen King when he was first starting out. You know, he was writing on a pseudonym and you know, all the other stuff. And you know, his first book I believe was Carrie that got picked up, but the guy was writing, but it's just like
a long time.
Yeah, and he finally got picked up. I mean, his wife Tabitha worked to support him.
Yeah,
but she knew he was a good author. He just
didn't she fish the book Carrie out of the trash?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think she did. Like he thought it wasn't going to get published, and he like threw the damn thing out, and she fished it out of there.
Yeah, either he tried to burn it, or he threw it in the trash, and she fished it out. But he, you know, was actually good author, and good authors get picked up. They just keep writing and writing and writing. Yeah. So these self-published authors, that's all they need to do. Just keep writing and writing and writing. And if your writing is good enough,
and they got to get their stuff out to real publishers. They got to get it. I mean, again, I know it's like I understand the artistic impulse. You want to hear like, but you as a rhetorician, you just what you think is great. Like I used to write poetry a lot in my 20s, and I look back at it now, and it was shit, right? I thought it was great at the time, but it was shit.
I used to write
now
poetry.
That I'm 55,
I got laid a lot. Okay.
Yeah. Now I know at 55, like when I write something, if it's shit or not, like because I have so much experience and education behind me and writing and everything. Like it's I can look at it more objectively. But you know, you get these people that think, you know, oh, it's gonna be the next Lord of the Rings, and they put it out there and they try to sell it at conventions at these tables and everything. Nobody buys it.
Yeah,
it's just
you peruse that, you know, because why I do at conventions, because I feel bad for some of these people. I'll stop at their table and kind of peruse and look like, you know, and then I move on because, you know, it's like, hey, I understand hustling for a living. You know, it's like I'm behind the 7-Eleven at least 3 times a week. You know, my elbows and wrists aren't what they used to be, but I'm out there hustling.
Kinky.
We'll leave that alone.
That's the thing. You know, it's like, yes, that's great that that you self-publish yourself. Perhaps if you got an actual editor who would be honest.
Yeah, not your wife.
Not your wife.
Not your boyfriend.
Not your
like an actual editor.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
An actual, well, say someone like, oh, I don't know, you, Colin, who actually has the academic chops to actually look at something and say it's good. Now, you could look at something that's not that well written, but there's a kernel of the story, and that's what a good editor will do.
Sure.
He'll pick through it and say, listen, you've got a good core story. This is what you need to do. Go back and do it. You know, and that's, but these people don't have that. They just have people that they have, yes, people. Yes, honey, that's great. That's your opus is the best, you know.
And looping us all the way back to the beginning of what we're talking about. It's kind of like with WOTC and Hasbro. It was yes, people. It's like, that's great. Everybody's gonna love it. It's so inclusive. It's like, no, people didn't love it. Nobody bought it. It sucked.
We need more gays. We need more trans. We need more people of color. No whiteys.
Yeah, that doesn't make it good. That doesn't mean it's good. Now it could be good. It could
not.
be, but but that doesn't mean it's good.
You made the orcs into
Mexicans.
I don't know.
Yeah,
You know,
like I mean,
yeah.
it just it
It's
was
like,
I think it's the reason why, and again, looping back to what we were first talking about, all those people getting laid off and all this
yeah,
stuff happening, and it's I think people up
you get what
high
you fucking
in that
deserve.
organization looked down at what was going on at WOTC and said, "This is a shit show." Okay, this is people with blue hair who think they
The
have
nose ring
talent
mafia,
and
as
they
they say.
didn't, and they produced crap and it didn't sell well, and they had these grandiose ideas what they were going to do, and it didn't pan out. I mean, sure, I mean it did like lose massive amounts of money, but it didn't pan out the way they want to. Not even the movie it did what they wanted to
And
do, and the movie was actually pretty good.
it wasn't any good, but
Yeah.
it got bad press because I think the director had said something about, you know, men being, you know, he had said something about it, making like, oh, men are, you know, they're, you know, it's like girl boss type deal. And it's just like people had had enough of that bullshit. And so
Yeah.
the general public said, you know, I think I'll wait till this comes on, you know, Netflix or whatever.
Yeah,
And that's the whole thing.
people just need to
People
shut
are
up.
tired
Yeah,
of it. And that's
yeah,
why the House of Cards is crumbling, and all these less than talented people that you know were part of a mob, you know, a very small percentage of the people that made everything worse. It's like, let's pander to, like I said, the small percentage and exclude your main consumers. You know, you're
yeah.
white. We don't need you.
It's kind of like, and again,
Go away,
we can,
Whitey.
yeah,
You
we can
know,
kind of close up with this. But one thing I always think about is like you can be kind of political, you can be ideological, whatever, and you can have these sensibilities as long as you're really, really good. Like as long as if you are a great artist, you can put something out there, and I don't care what your politics are, man. It's an amazing piece of art. Like what you can't be is political and ideological and suck.
yeah.
Like you can't, that doesn't work. Like you can't be shitty and be politically an idea. That is like,
Well,
and again, I hope Hasbro is watching this because this is what I'm saying, guys. Like here's a good example. Like Andrei Tarkovsky, you know who he is, right?
yeah, he's some white guy,
The
Russian,
filmmaker.
probably. What's
Yeah,
that?
the filmmaker
Yeah,
from the Soviet Union. Okay, guy, as far as I know, he was committed communist. You know,
yeah, yeah.
Soviet Union, right, right. But he was like one of the greatest filmmakers ever. Like
Right,
his
right.
films are like masterpieces, right? So
Sure.
I mean, I'm not a communist, but I don't care that he's a because his movies are fucking awesome,
Yeah, it
right?
wasn't about
Yeah,
his political
you can't be
ideology.
shitty and be political. Like
Well,
that's like the whole goal. Like you can't the problem with D&D, WotC D&D, is not that it's political and ideological. Yes, that's an issue. The problem with it is that it's shitty and it's politically like
right.
it's all of those things. That's
Well,
why the company is in trouble.
right. Well, this is what I want to say about that. When you say it was ideology, you know, ideology, or whatever the word is, and political, it's just like, yes, because the bubble they created by the hiring of the people they did, they
Mhm.
created a bubble, and when they put out, you know, the Hispanic orcs in that bubble, they say, yes, this is what the people want,
And nobody wanted that.
and no one wanted it, or the whole
Or
thing
maybe
with the
like
drow.
0.001%.
Yeah,
Who
or the
wanted
thing with
that?
the drow. And it's like, because that was their bubble, but the 90% outside of the bubble had no problems with orcs
Right.
or the drow or this, that, and the other thing. But in their bubble, they were correct. And then what they did was they released it to the public. And that's
And then
when they
public's
found
like,
out.
what is this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where
So
I didn't buy it. I'm not going to buy it. It's like, I don't want that to soil my, not the flag.
yeah.
I never soil the
Well,
flag, but you know, my collection behind there. It's just like, and that's the problem. There was no one, if there was one person that said, dude, you know, or madam, or whatever you are, yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's a problem. Out.
yeah,
Fired and out.
and before people get on their high horse and start like denouncing me as some like
Oh,
arch right winger,
fuck those
like
people. They have
I'm
no
gonna say
voice
this:
anymore.
I would not want this shit from the political right either. Like I don't want some like suddenly WOTC becomes some like neocon, freaking outfit, pushing like, Ben Shapiro bullshit. Like I wouldn't want that either. Like I'm here to play a fantasy
Right.
RPG game and to
Not
have
to be
fun.
lectured.
I don't want your politics and your bullshit injected
Yeah.
into the game, especially like I said, if the game sucks. Like
Dude, it's like,
that's a problem.
yeah, and you can see it, and it smells like week old fish, man. It's just like, it's like the general public, not just whiteys like me or you. It's not white people aren't the problem here. It's just like, though we do make up a lot of percentage of the gamers.
Are you
we're not
sure?
the problem. What? We were made to feel unwelcome in our own hobby because these
it's gatekeeping.
retards took it over, and everyone went along with it because they didn't want to get canceled. They didn't want to go, all that bullshit. Guess what? The party is over. It's over. People are not putting up with this bullshit anymore. These people are getting laid off and kicked out, and good luck getting another fucking job, you piece of shit. It's like, fuck you, go away.
Yeah.
And they will, because they do not have a voice.
They went over to Daggerheart.
I don't think they did. I hope not.
No, Chris Perkins and those guys, like Jeremy Crow, all those guys went to Daggerheart.
Right, but
yeah, I have not played Dagger. I'm not gonna say it's bad or it might be great. I don't know, but
I would hope it. Hopefully it is. But but here's the thing. Yeah, they may have went over there, but remember these top designers may have been silenced to go with that 1 to 5%, but they wouldn't get canceled, right. And then have these people start going through their Facebook messaging to find out some off-color joke they said 10, 15 years ago and get them canceled. That bullshit.
Yeah, absolutely. But
luckily no one did that for me.
We're too small to cancel. But on that note, I'll tell you what, we're almost at the hour mark. So we could rant about this all night. And again, we are going to get back to games and movies and other shit. But I thought, as far as a catch-up episode, Michael and I would talk about kind of the industry and where we see it. And again, we'll make the case for earlier editions of games and earlier games that existed back in the day.
Sure.
Companies are no longer in existence, and certainly first and second edition, that kind of thing. But yeah, that's tonight's rant. So
it was
go
fun
ahead and cancel me. I don't
man.
care.
It was fun telling those fucking retards to go eat a dick. Seriously, I'm fucking done with it. I won't do another convention until all this bullshit is over.
All right. On that note.
Right. Not that anyone would want me to, but if they did, I wouldn't do it until this bullshit is where it belongs. Just normal, everyday people living their lives and doing what they want to. And not
that's right.
I'm not
Greyhawk forever, man.
Yeah, it's just like, let's get back to normal, where we can all be normal people. And if I make a joke, I'm not getting canceled.
Let's depoliticize the game. Let's depoliticize gaming conventions. Let's get rid of the shitty product and art and like just all that stuff. Let's get back to quality.
Yes. Yeah, it's just like, yeah, why not?
Yes. All right. Bye, guys. We will see you next time.